What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Keto Rewind. I am Jess. Thanks for clicking on today's video. I have a funny thing to say real quick. I just recorded this entire video without turning my microphone on, so I really love that for me. We're gonna do it again. So anyways, thanks for clicking on today's video. I have a week 220 update of my fat loss journey, my weight loss journey, or my journey to rewind my weight from a morbidly obese weight to a healthy weight, living a high protein, low carb, keto lifestyle. So I will say I'm not a medical doctor, not a healthcare professional. This is just my story on what has worked, what hasn't worked, and you do you at the end of the day. So I'm just sharing what works for me and what didn't. After all, you know what works best for you. So what do you say we jump into today's video? Okay, so week 220. Now, oh gosh, where do I even begin? Let's start off by saying I am an impatient person. I also have a whole journey where I went from 309 pounds to 180 pounds pretty quick. So I have that journey that I'm always, I feel like, comparing myself to, because after all, it's me. What better way to compare is after what something that you have done. So it's sometimes hard to be appreciative of where you are right now when you had such success so quickly in round one. So I lost, I'm not sure of the dates, I'd have to go back and look, but I went from 309 to 180 pounds in like 14, 15 months, somewhere in that ballpark. It was fast. It came right off, and this time around, it's been hard to not compare myself so harshly in my head. So I feel like, you know, as I'm toying with this balance, because the instinct in me that I want to lose this weight fast is to restrict, because that's what worked last time. It's what got it off so fast. Then the other side is like, let's take this slow and steady and see it through so we don't have another round two, or I should say, so we don't have a round three, right? Because I'm currently on round two. So it's like I've been balancing this inner dialogue to be happy with the pace that I'm on and embrace that it's working, it's been effortless, I feel good, and notice the change that I have mentally versus first time around. Now, what I mean by that is mentally, the first time around, I was in a very restricted, very balls to the wall approach, lose the weight, meaning cut as much as I can, just keep cutting. If it's not coming off, cut more. It was a much more aggressive approach, and yes, it did work, but did it? Because I'm on round two. So that's what I keep reminding myself, because that was too aggressive, too restrictive, there was no balance, and it was not able to sustain. So when I did let off the gas, the weight came back on. So for those of you that are just joining, we went from 309 to 180, back up to 258. Here we go again. You know, I nearly gained back like half the weight I'd lost. Before I was like, whoa, and finally pumped the brakes. I was on a mission to figure out the mental side, like something's not adding up here. What am I doing wrong? You know, and I really dove deep. I sought a lot of answers for me, you know, and I put that mental work in while the scale didn't move for a long time. Then when it came to January 1st this year, I had a much more focused approach of what I needed to do this time around, because I did not want to do this 3 times. I want to lose this weight and be done with it, and I needed to find that individual approach that worked for me. So this time around, the mental side has just been smooth. I have not felt the highs and the lows. I've not felt the over-restricted to binges. I've not felt that roller coaster that I was riding and holding on the first time around. And that means that I'm having more success right now in the big picture, because I'm not doing all of that volatile riding. I'm just smooth sailing. And that slow, steady progress at the end of the day, it's still progress. It's still getting better. It's still one step closer to my goal, and that time is going to pass anyways. So, comparing journey 1 or round 1 with round 2 that I'm currently on, it's been a very different ride. I mean, the stress level, the things to talk about week to week are way harder. Normally, the first time around, I never had to think about what I wanted to talk about. There was so many things happening. It was like, you know, this time around, it's like, I don't have any crazy topics week to week. It's like, it's just been slow and steady, you know, like, and it's, when you're not on that ride and you're just like in a swing, like a hammock, when you get off the roller coaster and get on the hammock, way different experience. And I like the hammock better. Now, when it comes to the overall weight loss, that's the part that's like, oh man, I could drop 20, 30 pounds a month round 1. Now I'm lucky to hit 10, and it's more like 8. So that's frustrating, but those 8 pounds I feel like are gone. They are not coming back because I just have a new, healthier approach, and I'm using more creative ingredients. I'm feeling satisfied in other ways. So that leads me to point 2 that I want to talk about. A lot of recipes when you grow up as an Italian family like me. My family loves to eat. We celebrate with food. We're emotional eaters. Food, 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 right? Both sides of my family. And when you live your life around food, it's really hard to not miss all of those old family recipes, all of that stuff that brings you comfort. You know, that's your normal. And it's hard to snip the cord on that lifestyle because those things mean so much to you. And when I kind of needed to just cut that cord and embrace the new healthy lifestyle, I knew that I would never say no to like an old family recipe. In moderation, once in a while, no big deal. You know, one of my, like, just real pizza someday, you know, like some real nachos, you know, that kind of thing. I will never say I would never have those things again. But the frequency in which I have those things is going to change. Like, occasionally, that's okay. That is not something that needs to show up every weekend. Because that's what I would do. I would spend 5 days on point with my eating, and then the weekend would come and I'd have all the things that got me to 309 pounds. And then wonder why the scale wasn't moving, you know, or why I kept gaining weight. You know, it's this on again, off again approach. Riding that roller coaster. Now you have the emotional regret from eating those things, and now you're super restrictive on Monday because you messed up on the weekend. I couldn't live that way anymore. It was easier now for me to cut the cord and be like, I don't want those things anymore. Yes, they taste good. Yes, they symbolize so much love and happiness within my family. Happiness. They were always those, I feel like crap, so those things made me feel better. You know, like, I just didn't want that anymore. The new, healthier me is going to find new recipes, new traditions, and new ingredients. And that's why you've seen a lot of cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. I personally can handle dairy fine. I'm not lactose intolerant. It doesn't cause any distress. I love dairy, and there's a great source of protein. And I'm not talking super processed dairy. I mean, I'm the first to love me some Velveeta and American cheese, but that's not the dairy I'm talking about. I'm talking about Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, you know, like the much like aged cheeses, you know, that kind of thing, not super processed. Because again, we're back to square one with the processing, right? So I decided that if I'm gonna make the change, I can't live the old lifestyle and expect to maintain and never have to go through this again if I don't make those changes. And that was a very hard pill to swallow. That was a very hard thing to give up, and that was a very hard thing to close the door on because food means so much to me. But there's no point in continuing to try to lose weight if I'm not willing to change those lifestyle habits and make new ones. So, and that was one of the things that you just, it's so hard to say no to that. But eventually you get to the point where you don't want to ride the roller coaster anymore. You don't want to ride that turmoil, that you don't want that stress. You just want to have some peace. So when I say that, like, it's been quiet for a while now, like the stress of my day is my kids' softball tournament, you know, like it's not because of food. It's crazy. It's a great thing to have. That's a great problem to have. So what I'm trying to say in as small as as short as I can, Cliff Notes, is you can't expect to live that a standard American lifestyle and not make any changes in the new you. Like there has to be a complete overhaul, and it's including the food. You know, the expectations of, you know, yeah, I made a cottage cheese bread this week. There's no way in heck does it taste like Wonder Bread or that crusty bread you get in an Italian restaurant. There's no way in hell it's gonna taste like that. But this bread does taste good, and as long as I don't try to make it that, and I just embrace it for it's a cottage cheese bread, it's high protein, helps me get to my macros, I can have success. But I can't make something be something else because they're two different things. You know, so like a lot of people, myself included, it's hard to give up the things that we love. I spent so much time trying to make a biscuit or a bread or something from the standard American lifestyle that I can have on keto or low carb, and they never will taste the same. Not saying you can't find new recipes and new versions of cheesecake or new versions of cookies or new versions of, you know, your favorite treat. You can totally do that, but you can't expect them to be the same thing because there never will be. They're not the same thing. So, and that was a huge pill for me personally to swallow, being the emotional eater. The absolute food has been so important in my life. So it's like, it's a powerful shift when you can finally say, nope, I don't need to go have nachos and queso tonight. I am perfectly fine having a piece of chicken or a hamburger or a simple plate of food that's full of color, it's high protein, it's low carb, it's got the good healthy fats that just, you finish this plate, you feel good all day. You finish this plate of nachos and beans and, you know, or pasta or whatever, you're gonna feel regret, you're gonna feel bloated, gassy, all of the remorse of having that, the regret, you know, like I just didn't want that anymore. I was so tired of just beating myself up over food. So the one way I took that step forward is to be like, I'm all done with those recipes. I'm all done. I will not say I'm never gonna have those things again, but for right now, the changes I need to make them sustainable and maintainable that is not me anymore. This is me, and this is how I want to live, and I need to find and put effort into creating or finding new recipes that taste just as good and check the same boxes and fall in love with the eating in this lifestyle. And that was a game changer. I can't stress that enough. I mean, I never thought I'd be making videos about cottage cheese. You know, like I've had several, and I have another one for you this week. Like, but I love cottage cheese. I never knew I did. You know, I was the biggest skeptic, like cottage cheese ice cream, you know? So, but it's like I decided to open myself up and embrace the new possibilities. Find new recipes, new flavors, and all the things that fit into the lifestyle that I want to live. Ta-da! So, like I said, I don't have like amazing advice this week because there really hasn't been much. Things have been slow and steady. You know, I don't feel like there's so much noise in my head anymore. And then when I get the mental health in check, because I'm not having the spikes, the cravings, all those things anymore because I've been living without them. And I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I could keep doing this. This feels good. I'm on to something here. And that's where I'm at. So that may seem like I butchered how I'm trying to explain what's happening to me right now, but the difference between Journey 1 and Journey 2, or Journey 1 and my comeback tour, oh my gosh, the changes have been night and day. And that means my cortisol has to be lower now. That means my emotional stress is lower now. I'm happy, feeling good all the time, and it's worth the changes, and it feels good, and it's something that you have to accept. If you're willing to change, you're gonna have success. You're gonna reach your goals. If you are not willing to give those things up and to actually change, you're wasting your time. You're gonna, and that's the honest truth. And it wasn't until I fully decided to commit to a high protein, low carb keto and not live that way again, have I really seen that door close. And I thought I couldn't do it. And here I am doing it every week, and I'm feeling good, and I'm getting stronger, and I feel like I'm actually gonna make the change, and I'm actually gonna do it this time, and I'm gonna keep it off. So it's been pretty crazy. So with that said, let's talk about the weigh-in. Now, for the recap, Journey 1 started at 309 pounds, got down to 180. Journey 2, we have had a new start of 258, has been my highest. Like, that's the point where I finally was like, get it together, Jess. So 258, and then today I weigh in at 235. So yeah, it's not a huge drop. It's disappointing because I've been at this for like 2 months, but I feel like a different person, and I feel the difference this time. I get it. I'm accepting it. I'm loving the new me, So my goal weight is still 180, and I'm still pretty far, but if I have to lose it 1 pound a week, the time's gonna pass anyways, and I'm eventually gonna be there. But if I choose to keep going to the old ways, like overdoing it on the weekends, letting things that are not in the new lifestyle back into my life, there's consequences for those choices. And that means you don't lose or you gain. But if I continue to chip it away every day and show up and do what makes me happy and fully embrace the new lifestyle that I'm trying to live, I'm gonna be there. And I'm feeling that every day I'm getting one step closer. So I hope that makes sense. But it is what it is. And it's as simple as that sounds, it's what's happening for me. And it wasn't until I finally shut the door and was like, no more at 258 pounds that I found that I don't have to live that way anymore. The only thing I have to do is actually change this time, for real. And mean it when I say it. And here I am today. So yeah, I'm happy. Do I wish I was further along? Sure. But at the same time, the headspace, that mentality, all of that is just so much easier this time that I almost choose it. Because riding that roller coaster was not fun. It made me feel crazy. And I remember I'd always have to work out so much to calm the crazy down. That's why I was riding that roller coaster. And I haven't had that need to work out the crazy, where just normal activity has been what I've been doing. Strolls around the block, walking to school with my kids, softball with my kids, some lifting in my garage with my free weights. Nothing crazy. And if I skip a day, not a big deal. I didn't ruin anything, So just that change has been amazing for me. So anyways, that is it for me. Speaking of cottage cheese, I have more recipes, I'm sure, coming up. I have a protein brownie recipe. I've got lots of cool stuff coming. So we'll see more of each other this week. I am Jess. Remember, this is all speaking on my own opinion, and I'm just sharing that with you. And if that can help and inspire, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye!